Welcome to the Knock On Effect podcast, where concussion meets conversation, with Adam Wood and Cliff Butler. Brought to you by Safeguarding You and the Melbourne Headache and Concussion Group. Let's get into this.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to our fourth episode of the Knock On Effect podcast. I'm Cliff Butler, and today I'm not joined by Adam Wood, my co-host. I've actually got a special guest in Luke Eastwood, who's agreed to come down and have a chat to us, and I'll introduce Luke in a second. So this week, obviously, the AFL world is talking about the Tom Stewart concussion and how the 12-day stand-down rule means that he will miss this week's AFL Grand Final. Luckily though, what we've got Luke here to talk about is the real world impacts for young footballers in the junior and under 19 and even local leagues, and how concussion leaves a lasting legacy on their lives, their day-to-day lives. So as we said, Luke, thanks for joining us today, mate. Local football superstar in the WRFL and the VAFA League at the moment, completing his Year 12 exams and graciously taking the time out to come and have a chat with us today. Now, Luke suffered a couple of years ago, multiple concussions in a football season, and then I believe 12 months later, a second concussion. Now, the result of that was, months worth of headaches, confusion, dizziness, difficulty at school, time off the sport that he loved and time away from the community that he loved. So what we're here to do today is to talk about this powerful reminder that going back to sport too soon after a concussion can leave a lasting impact on a young sports person's life. So thanks again, mate, for being here. So the one thing I wanted to talk about, or one thing I wanted to know more about, was your concussions. So Can you run us through your recollection of those events?
Yeah, for sure. So I think it started, the first was a game over at West Footscray. It was out in the middle of the ground. It was pretty hard. It was a cricket pitch during the summer season. So I think from what I remember, I just remember going down, and I think I was down in a tackle and someone's knee come over the back of my head, and I just saw a bit sore. I stayed down a bit, eventually got up and came off. Didn't think much of it. A bit weary here and there. I just thought, I was just tired from the game and whatnot. Didn't think anything of it. Dad didn't think anything of it. So we just moved on, and a few weeks later at home game, had a bit of a collision with one of my mates going up for the ball. Just didn't communicate with each other, and ended up, his shoulder hit me in the chin, and I felt all a bit wobbly, and I was like, nah, it's fine. I came off, said I was fine, went back on, and then I think in the second quarter, I had two blokes, I had the ball, handballed it. Someone came across, hit me on the shoulder like that, spun me around, and then someone's hit me from the front, and I've gone back, and it was the same thing, like the cricket pitch, ground was a bit hard, hit my head on the back of the ground, and that's where it all went south. Started seeing stars, I didn't really know where I was. Was looking around, just very blank when I was playing, didn't really know what to do. Just played the rest of the game, which obviously wasn't the best idea. Went off, didn't tell anyone, just thought, I'm fine. Went home, and I was still obviously feeling pretty crook. Big headache, neck was pretty sore and whatnot. Anyway, next thing, came and saw you, and then we went from there,
All right, mate. Well, that's a pretty harrowing story, mate, and thank you for sharing. So I guess I'd like to understand what made you think that this required attention. Like, what made you seek? You came and saw me. What was the impetus that made you come and seek out some help?
Yeah, I think obviously after the first, like those two knocks that we just spoke about, it was more, it's footy, it happens. Like, it's sore, you just get up, keep going, come off for a spell if you need it, and get back out there. I think with that third one, when I hit my head on the back of the ground, just felt really blank. Like, nothing was really working, or kind of like nothing was really making sense, especially like across the top of my eyes. Like, if I'm looking straight ahead, I can see all these like little stars up the top of my eyes, and that's obviously not normal. And I never really felt like that before. Obviously never had concussion, like he had those two knocks, but it just felt different. Like, you say you feel tired, you feel a bit dizzy, but it's just not knowing where you are and not really knowing what's going on. Like, obviously I could tell you my name and what day it is and who I played for, but it just wasn't all there.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it, really.
That's about it. And so has your perception of, based on those symptoms and what you've experienced there, has your perception of concussion changed in terms of when you would seek assistance? Like you said, the first 2 knocks, maybe not so bad, didn't feel too much. How do you think your perception's changed? And I'll put another question in there as well, because I know the club that you played for has done amazing work and is really leading the way in, I think, not only the WRFL, but in kind of junior football within probably the country, in providing support networks to players around concussion. So what made you kind of go, hang on a second, has your perception changed on concussion? And maybe with those first couple of hits, would you now do things differently? And then the second question is, do you think that the football world is actually changing as well?
Yeah, I think perception's definitely changed. I feel like if I was to go out and, like in the first time that happened, if I was to cop a knee to the back of the head and I was feeling crook, I would definitely come and get it checked out. Obviously, we've done base readings with the eye test. And then with the, what was the other question again? Sorry.
So do you think that the AFL world in general is changing as well, and kind of understanding more that if you have a knock, that you don't necessarily need to have the immediate symptoms? A head impact is a head impact, and you need to be screened and then either cleared or kind of, referred on.
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty important to get down and get it checked out, even if it's nothing like it's, an hour out of your day. I think you can manage with that. And you look at, like, if it's an hour out of your day compared to the rest of your life, having that head injury, it's obviously pretty serious.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
I
definitely.
think it's definitely worth it. For
Yeah.
sure.
And then you had another impact down the line as well that I'd really like to talk about, if that's okay with you.
Yeah,
and that was 12 months on.
Yeah.
So you've sat it out, you've rested, you've rehabbed, you've done all the testing. The testing's cleared you to go back, or the testing is as best we can do at this stage with the evidence and science that we have. And you've gone back, and then you've had another knock again. Can you talk me through that one?
Yep. So that one was at school footy, actually. And
It's always school footy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It was up in a marking contest, and no one's fault. A opposition player just come across as I'm going up for it, and he's missed the ball, and it's just hit me on the chin, and I felt, because I didn't actually feel that bad. And it's going back to that, has it changed your perception? Well, yes, because I feel like if it hadn't, I wouldn't have got it looked at, because I didn't really feel that bad, and the symptoms weren't as bad in the first week or so. Before I came, or after I'd come in, that one was definitely worse though. Like, they roll on, they snowball in a way, and they get worse after having more of them. So I think definitely it
definitely come in, because you say you came in and it was. I remember it being, pretty confronting, I think, for you. Yeah. But also, can you talk me through your experience at school? And I think it was pretty confronting for a few of your mates as well, that you were having kind of some issues with your memory and whatnot.
Yeah, so definitely at school, I remember there was a few times, or even at home, like I'd just be talking to someone and midway through the sentence I'd just stop and that'd be it. I just couldn't tell you what I was talking about, just completely lose my way. And I remember one day I was talking to one of my mates, and I think it was something like, "Oh, what are you doing tonight?" And he goes, "Mate, it's the third time you've asked me that in the last 2 minutes."
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, what are you talking about?" And he goes, "No, you've asked me that 3 times already."
Yeah.
And I said, "No, I don't think I have." Like, you just,
You just lost your way.
Yeah, so you just lose, It's no good.
And then obviously that you're in year 12 now. I mean, you were obviously back then in year 11, I think. Yeah. So, and you're probably doing a VCE subject in year 11. A lot of kids are. How did that affect your schooling then as well? I mean, this is the big ticket item, right? Like, it's local footy's awesome and all that kind of stuff. But we've just talked about how, you've got exams next week. How you're looking at going into being a tradie, maybe getting into being a sparky. Probably need to be half decent at maths for that, and then need to have some sensibilities around yourself so you don't hurt yourself there. How did it affect your schooling? These incidents?
Yeah, well, I think it was 8 weeks that I had before I was back to it properly. And I think for maybe 6 of those weeks, a lot of time was spent only doing a period of school. Well, that was in the second half. I reckon in the first 3 weeks, I didn't go to school. And then after that, going back to school, it was only doing 1 or 2 periods before I couldn't focus anymore, and I just felt like shit, and I had to go home or just go sit in the nurse's office for the rest of the day and either sleep or just sit down and just do nothing really. So it's obviously a lot of time to have off school. But yeah, I think, I don't know, it's hard. It's hard having that much time off school.
100%. Yeah.
Especially if you're not going.
Oh, absolutely. And as a young man, I don't want to project, but I probably wasn't super in touch with my feelings. A lot of people might have said I had a low EQ, and my wife might still say that. But how did you feel emotionally around that? I mean, this is something completely new for you. Like, you've probably been a bit of I know you're a warrior on the field. You've got a busted finger there today, mate. You've had surgery on. Obviously, you know, you go in hard for the ball, and you know, I know your dad as well. He's a good old school Aussie bloke. How did you feel emotionally around missing school, and also maybe just the not knowing? I mean, obviously we work to educate you as best we could around concussions, and that they can take time, but living that, how did that kind of feel for you?
Yeah, look, it's obviously pretty shit. Like, it's not ideal not being able to do anything. Like, you can't do the things you enjoy as much. Like, even, I don't know, it could be something simple as going outside, taking the dog for a walk. Like, for the first couple of weeks, you weren't even meant to do that. You were just meant to sit in your room on your bed, don't look at your phone, just look at the wall, sleep. So it's obviously pretty shit. You feel pretty flat not being able to go out and do things, see people. So that's obviously a hard aspect of it. And then obviously you miss things like footy, the things that you really enjoy. And it's hard because when footy's the reason it happened, it doesn't put you off it sometimes, but it just makes you think about, you know, how hard it can be when you don't get to do footy or you miss school. Like, it's not really the school aspect, but you don't get to see your mates. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You got to get the marks though, mate.
Exactly right. Yeah, well, that is true. Yeah.
I think we wrote a few exemptions and things for exams for you there, and I know probably mum was having kittens more about the school than the footy, but
for sure.
Yeah. So that was a hard time, and then you've gone back to footy, and again we've gone through the process and we've done all that we can.
Yep.
And then you've received another head impact playing in under-19, and obviously this one wasn't. I don't think it was a concussion. From if I'd have to go back through my notes, but yeah, I think But you clearly have a different perception of the process. Can you talk me through that as well? Yeah.
I'm just trying to think back to when this was. It must have been.
Was it last year? I think it was 12 months on from the last one. I think, and you definitely had it. It definitely rattled you, not in terms of rattled your brain, but it definitely rattled you, I think, emotionally, that you were like, I'm going to go in and just get checked out again. Yeah.
I think it was this year at some point. But yeah, I think it's definitely changed. Obviously now, if you get a head knock, it's not that difficult to just come down and get it looked at.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long, and if it's nothing, then sweet, move on, keep going. But if it is something, then, you know, I always think back to when mum says to me, like, oh, if you get another one, then that's it. Like, that's enough. So you don't want to get another one and then not do anything about it, keep playing, and then you get another one and you never know. That might change your life.
Yeah.
For the rest
of your life. We'll get back to that. I guess I was also thinking, I know the way you play footy, it's pretty head over the ball, pretty hard at it. And some might say, your mum would say reckless. Has it changed the way that you play football now? I
think when I first go back the first couple of weeks, you worry a bit more. I think now it does always sit in the back of your mind, no matter how much you can say it doesn't. That'd be a lie. And you know, like I had someone ask me the other day after I broke my finger. He said, "Oh, are you going to play next year?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think it doesn't really bother me that much." I said I'd be more worried about getting another concussion than I would, you know, breaking my finger again, because it's just a finger.
Yeah.
But like, if you hurt your head again, then Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you don't. And when the evidence is still kind of evolving around that as well, obviously,
sure.
and longer term impacts. We're obviously seeing a lot of young footballers and older footballers suffering a lot of mental health issues after that. So you've had a bit of a history of concussions. You've obviously been treated and managed, and you've abided by the guidelines and come back to sport. And yet, even after having an extended period of time off, you've kind of been, affected again. I guess the question I have for you is, are people too fixated on the actual 12 days or 21 days? Should the care be more individualised? And do you believe that maybe we need to take longer out of the game after let's say, repetitive incidents? Yeah.
Yeah, I think on that, it really depends on the individual. Obviously, like you said, everyone focuses on the 21 days, and I feel like I was much the same. Like, I just wanted to get back out playing footy again after the 3 weeks that I missed, because obviously that's a long time in the moment, but it's really not that long when you think about it after. I know for me, I missed both times. If you look the first time I had it, I missed 7 weeks, and the next was 8 weeks. So
I think we had you clocked at about 90 days or something, or
something
more.
like
Something was
that.
crazy amount of time off. Yep.
So I think it all depends on the individual. And obviously after the 21 days, if you're feeling fine and you can show that you're better, then sure, go for it. But if you're not, then obviously take some more time off, because it is worth it.
Do you think people currently underestimate the amount of time it takes for a brain to heal?
Yeah, I do. I do think that, yeah. And I think it shows with the time that I took off. But, it all depends on the individual. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, and obviously we've seen, that you've had another impact, obviously, 12 months later that didn't result in a concussion. And so having that extended, period there where you've gone 12 months, it was through the off season, so you weren't playing. There was no impacts. There was no impacts at training. It was a clean run for you of an extended period of time off to allow that brain to heal. And then you've had that incident again, and it's you were safe.
Yeah.
So I think that goes to show that it does take longer than we expect, and I think it is interesting to explore the concept of them being accumulative as well, like you say. So I don't know. It's kind of still up for investigation there.
Yeah, for sure.
Some people believe they are. Anecdotally, it seems like the more concussions you have, the more likely you are to suffer another one. But I think as long as we're taking the individual and necessary time out of the game, then we're giving ourselves a safe return to sport. That's pretty good. So you're back playing and you're feeling quite confident. You're feeling everything's kind of going quite well, other than broken fingers.
Yeah. And back playing now. I was happy that I went through most of this season without an injury, which was good. Especially not another head knock. I think that was a really good point.
Yep. So closing remarks for you, mate, not to put you under the spot here, but if you could say something to a parent or a player or of who's suffered a concussion, what do you think it would be?
Just go get it checked out.
Yeah.
As simple as that. There's not a whole lot to it, mate. It's just go have a chat to someone. Yeah.
And would you also probably say to them, hey, on the day, if you're in doubt, just take a seat and have the rest of the game out?
Get off, It's local footy.
Yeah.
You're not playing AFL, and even if you were, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, brain's a brain, isn't it?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. I think if you're Tom Stewart or if you're Luke Eastwood, the brain's a brain, and you need to protect them so that you can always have that next game. Because it might be important to play the grand final, but I'm pretty sure Tom Stewart wants to play and have a long and illustrious career. So the longer that we can rest and give the brain that kind of time to heal, I think the better. Yeah. Well, mate, thank you for your time today and for sharing your honest story.
No
Been
worries.
fantastic.
Thank you.
And hopefully you have a fantastic season, head knock free and finger break free next year.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. So Tom Stewart missing the grand final has dominated the headlines. But as we've heard from Luke, concussion is more than just missing one game. So as we've heard Luke's story, it shows what can happen when you return to sport too soon or don't seek the appropriate care. We've got lost days from school. We've got pressure on exams. Luke's in year 11. He's now in year 12. It could have been catastrophic for him from a future perspective in terms of his life, his learning, and his future prospects for a job. He's now back playing football, but even a year on, the shadow of another head knock still looms large. So that's why the science is clear. The brain needs time to heal. The minimum stand down period should be 21 days because you only get one brain and protecting it means more than playing next week.